going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Make sure to like and subscribe out there on YouTube. Also rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. And we are live. We're finally back live after PayPal left. I've been trying to figure out what to do with the live show, and I'm glad kind of got it figured out how to do a couple things, but we are live breaking down a Chicago Bears victory over the Falcons, and that felt pretty darn good. That felt pretty darn good, I gotta say. So let me know out there on YouTube. Let's celebrate. How do we feel about this win? Because I don't know about you guys, but the Bears are playing good football. The defense is looking good. The offense is looking good. It's just an all-around good performance and fun performance to be watching as a Bears fan. So we're going to be doing studs and duds a little differently today because it's New Year's. Happy New Year, everybody. We're not going to be talking about duds today. We are going to be talking about nothing but studs because the Bears looked like a bunch of studs out there today. It was an absolutely fun game. Studs only, no duds, only good vibes here. We got Unapologetic Truth saying JF1, QB1, and that's going to be the big question that I'm going to ask soon. It's just kind of what do we think? Like, how are we feeling about Justin Fields out there? Because let's go through some of the stats for today's game, okay, shall we? So if we look at the stats for today, on the offensive side of the football, Justin Fields, 20 for 32, 268 yards passing, 1 touchdown, sacked 3 times. Also, ran for 45 yards, carried the ball, and then Khalil Herbert carried the ball 18 times for 124 yards. And honestly, we were able to do it on the ground. And then you look at the receiving, DJ Moore, 9 receptions, 159 yards, 1 touchdown, and Robert Tonyan, 3 catches, 40 yards. That was a big person that I was talking about pre-show, was talking about Robert Tonyan. Is he going to be getting involved? Very good game for him. Roshan, 3 catches, 38 yards. And then on the defense, if we go over to the defensive side of the football, you already know, right? This defense played very well, but we didn't get that 10-tackle performance. We saw Tremaine Edmonds get 5, Tariq Stevenson get 5, Brisker with 5. But you see Jervon Dexter, the big boy, 1.5 sacks, and DeMarcus Walker with the half sack. But obviously, the interceptions. Stevenson with 2, Edwards with 1, Kyler Gordon with 1. An absolutely very good performance for the Chicago Bears defense. And it feels good. Like we were saying, it feels really good, this type of a performance that the Bears made. And I think that it makes you feel good about going into next season. Because now with this season, right, it was all about, are they going to be able to do something at the end of the season? Are they going to be able to turn all this positive momentum and exit the season stronger than they did going into it? If you look at what has happened over the last 7 games, the Bears have gone 5-2. And when you look at those 2 losses, I have it right up here, they were outscored by double digits in the 4th quarter. They blew those leads. And without blowing the leads astronomically, that's 7 straight wins, if you could, right? Obviously, they did lose the game, so it counts for losses. But really, also, since acquiring Montez Sweat, 5-3, and the other loss that they had that wasn't in those last 7 games, they were outscored by 7 yet again in the 4th quarter. So I think what you're really seeing here is that this team is on the upswing. This team is looking good. This team is playing good. At the end of the game, they're hanging out there smoking cigars in the locker room. They're smoking cigars in the locker room, celebrating. And Justin Fields, JF1, said that this feels like a high school atmosphere, a college atmosphere. It feels good in the room. Everything feels nice. And that's something that I think is really, really important when you're talking about next year, when you're talking about getting a new coach. Myself, like a lot of other people, were talking about Matt Eberflus at the very beginning of the year, saying this is a poorly coached team. Then you see Alan Williams leave. Now you see this team start to do a lot more and start performing greatly, right? This team let up 17 points, and one was just a 75-yard touchdown, right? A fluky play that, it happens. But after that, they only allowed 10 points. You look at Taylor Heineke, 3 interceptions thrown, 163 yards passing. And some haters out there might say, you know what? Heineke is Heineke. Heineke still wins games in the NFL. He's a good backup. He's had good performances. This defense, this team is just playing really legitly. I thought they were going to lose. I said that in my, in the preview. I was pleasantly surprised. And the way that they're playing, because the Falcons are usually always a competitive team. Now you see it. The Bears absolutely dominated, absolutely stomped, and it feels pretty freaking good. Like I've said, I think that's kind of the phrase of today, is that it just feels good. But like I say, like I have down below, let us know, how would you rate Justin Fields in this game? A, B, C, D? Because right now we're going into the studs of the game. And I'll tell you this, Justin Fields is stud number 1. I thought that he made some unbelievable throws to DJ Moore. Some of those just corner of the end zone, what you saw him throw was a phenomenal throw, right on the money. And DJ Moore, this is what happens when you have a wide receiver 1, makes an incredible catch. Now, DJ Moore made some phenomenal catches, but that's what happens when you give this guy some weapons. And what I saw was Justin Fields, you saw him breaking out of tackles, breaking out of sacks. He does all that stuff. I might have said this on the show already, but he does all the things that no one else can do. He makes these huge plays, these big plays that just take it to the next level. Justin Fields looked great. And now I got to watch the tape back again. There was a couple times where he's holding on to the ball where you go, okay, is someone not open? Let's not focus on that right now. I thought that he was getting the ball out. I thought he was making decisions. I thought he was running the football well. And this offense looked good. You put up 37 points on the Falcons, which we said was statistically a top defense. But when I was looking at the advanced metrics, was kind of a middle-of-the-road defense. This is a good defense, no matter how you slice it. Middle of the road, that's a good temperature gauge of how good are you. They put up 37 points. They ran it well. They passed it well. That feels good. So to me, I'm giving them an A. I thought that this is the type of game that Justin needs to have against the Packers next week, because when you have this, you hear the Keep Fields chants out there in the audience. Johnny PayPal was actually out there too. He was definitely saying Keep Fields. You hear that. Management hears that. Everybody hears that. Everybody backs Fields. And that's what really seems to be kind of shining, is that Justin Fields looked very, very good. But let's also just talk about Keep Fields or move on. I just kind of want to ask that question. I think that majority of Bears fans are on the Keep Fields train. I'll talk about it this week because I just kind of want to break it down before we start understanding, who's in, who's out, is Getsy in, is Getsy out. I kind of want to talk a little bit about what I would do with Fields, but I'm curious about everyone out on YouTube, whether you're watching live or later on. Let me know in the comments, are you team Keep Fields, team move on, or team just frickin' win games, right? Right? But I'm just kind of curious what people's thoughts are on the Justin Fields debate, right? But let's continue going on with more studs of the games. And I haven't even asked this yet, but let me know your studs of the game. Who was awesome for you? Because I have to go with Justin Fields first. Next, I got to talk about number 2. And number 2, this guy, I say this every time that I do a post-game show. This guy doesn't even need an introduction. He shouldn't even be in this segment because he's just that good. DJ Moore. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I was watching this, I was thinking, imagine Marvin Harrison Jr. in this team. Imagine him playing with Justin Fields. Imagine Justin Fields, Marvin Harrison Jr., and DJ Moore. That's a scary combo. That's a very good, you have that, right? Whether Justin is the guy moving forward or not, you have 2 number 1 wide receivers if you do that. And when you see DJ Moore, he's really kind of shut up a lot of the critics that did say, okay, he's not a top receiver, not a true number 1. He's a okay number 1. No, You see, he has the hands, he has the after the catch, and you could tell too that he was kind of nursing an injury, a little banged up later on in the year. That doesn't stop him. Looked absolutely great. And I know that the last show, I had that thumbnail, which I was like, for those on YouTube, I didn't love that thumbnail. It was like, Fields has no weapons, right? Or something like that. Justin Fields just needs DJ Moore. You saw that. When DJ Moore, he's that. He can be that guy when everyone else was out. Because even though Cole Kmet played a couple snaps, we were saying it in the show that he's probably not going to be playing because of his injury. Didn't really see Cole out there too much. Robert Tonyan played well, right? My bold take was he was going to get 50 yards. He got 40. It was pretty close. But you just saw just what type of a receiver DJ Moore is. It's another performance where he gets targeted 13 times, 9 receptions, 159 yards. And I don't remember in the Brandon Marshall days, in the Alshon Jeffrey days, I don't remember this target to reception ratio being this high. I don't remember that because I felt like it was good, but it just seems anytime that the ball goes to DJ Moore's way, he's coming down with it. He's making a play on it. He's doing something that just extends everything. And also, we have him for $16 million a year, which a lot of top receivers are getting 20 plus easy. Steal of a deal, steal of a trade, and we got the number 1 pick. I forgot even to mention that too. Number 1 pick sealed up. We probably already were checking that out, but this already feels awesome to have a player like this, that whether it's Justin Fields, whether it's someone else, he's such a good receiver. But let's go to my last stud on offense. I'm giving it to Khalil Herbert. I love me some Khalil Herbert, the way that he runs, how he's just smooth and he just kind of glides. And one of my friends who's a Lions fan texted me and said, hey, Brad, why is Roschon Johnson not getting more carries? He seems to be the better running back. He seems just to be overall better. Why doesn't he get the ball? And I said, well, before the game, Khalil Herbert, he's a smooth runner. He's a smooth operator. He's just been banged up. He had a good game last week, but this week we'll see. And this week, Khalil Herbert answered that. 18 carries, 124 yards, 1 touchdown, and you just see the smoothness when he runs. That's what he provides. But that whole third down situation, him as a pass blocker, him as a receiver, stuff like that, that's more Roschon Johnson's game. And Deonta Foreman looks great, has looked very, very good for us this year. But I think when you look at Khalil Herbert, to me, he can be that one down, like give him the one down runs and then give Roschon Johnson the second and third down runs, because I do think that Roschon Johnson might have more of that potential in the future, but Khalil Herbert, such a smooth runner. He was the stud on offense for me for this game. But now let's flip over to this defense, because I said this before and I'll keep on saying this. Defense is why we're Bears fans. We enjoy defense. We enjoy interceptions. We enjoy sacks, maybe more than touchdowns. I know I do. I don't know how you are. I love defense. And Gervon Dexter, we talked about this at the very beginning of the season, that rookie defensive tackles, I believe that the one last year, the one that led the season in sacks from the rookie perspective, what according to PFF was 2 sacks. Right? Logan Hall doesn't count because he played on the edge majority of the time, right? But the D tackle position, 2 sacks was the high. Gervon Dexter, 1.5 sacks today. Now, Montez Sweat helps out a lot with this, but we talked about defensive tackles need time to develop. And I said this at the very beginning of the year, that Gervon probably wasn't going to start destroying people this year. But later on, maybe. And what we're seeing is Gervon Dexter grow. We're seeing him get better and better and better. He still has some plays like a rookie, but Gervon Dexter is my first stud on this defense, because 1.5 sacks, just making good plays. What he's showing is, hey, next year, better watch out. I'm going to adjust to the speed of the game better. I'm going to get my hands better. I'm going to do all these other things to make me a better pro. What we're seeing out of Gervon Dexter is all promising at that defensive tackle position. And do I think that, and I don't like all the Jalen Carter versus Gervon Dexter. Jalen Carter was the better prospect, and Dexter was a big ball of clay. And what's exciting is Javon is showing that he's doing something, he's becoming something as that ball of clay. So for me, good performance out of him with this. He's got all the strength, he's got all the tools, and today was a good performance. Even though some of those did get pushed into him, he was still making penetrating moves. He was still doing very, very well out there. So Javon Dexter, my first stud on this defense, because this is a little difficult because the defense played so well. And even though that there wasn't a bunch of tackles, I could rattle off a million people. And I'm going to go with Tyreek Stevenson as my next stud for the Chicago Bears. Tyreek Stevenson, 2 interceptions today. Yet again, I'll go back to the beginning of the season. What we talked about is Stevenson was probably going to have some up and down games. Now, he's had more down games, I'd say, this year than up games, but this was one of those up games. And you see this. This defense is vibing. This defense is playing well. This defense has character to it. It's fun. It's enjoyable to watch. When I'm going to watch this tape back, I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to enjoy watching this. This defense is playing with enthusiasm, with spirit, with fun. And they're a top 10 defense. It's great to say because last year we were the worst defense in the league. Now we're top 10. And Tyreek Stevenson, to me, for sure, deserves a game ball anytime you get an interception. But 2 interceptions, phenomenal. Very, very, very good play out there. And I know Unapologetic Truth said Gordon had a great game as well. That's also another person I was debating on. The flip was pretty sick too. The back flip and everything like that. You know, we saw him land it a little bit better in some other games out in practice. But yeah, live in game when you're running all day and you do that, that's impressive. It doesn't have to be perfect. Kyler Gordon is so much fun to watch. But let's go to my last stud of the game, and I'll tell you who it is. Last stud, the best linebacker on the team. This is not a bold take. It's TJ Edwards. TJ Edwards is always around the ball. He's always making tackles. He's a sure tackler. And you get him with a diving interception. TJ Edwards, steal of free agency. We loved it when he signed, and he just keeps on playing, and he keeps on playing at such a high level. And when you think about this defense in the future, you think about we have the linebacker set. It's Tyreek Stevenson. If he can continue building, that's even better, right? And the safeties are playing well. You might want to replace Eddie Jackson. I don't know. He's got a high salary cap, so maybe they look into that. But you probably don't want to shake a lot of the stuff that's going on. This defense is humming. This defense is playing well. And like I said, Edwards is just someone who you can always count on to make big plays. So that's who I have for my studs. I got to go through some honorable mentions as well. But like I said, let me know down in the comments or in the chat, who are your studs of the game? Because I'm kind of curious who you thought really kind of popped for the Chicago Bears. But I got to talk about a couple other things. We got to talk about the missed field goal that almost gets brought back, right? Because we're vibing with the Bears. Bears are doing well, right? Atlanta got a touchdown, and all of a sudden, we missed the field goal. And then they're running it back, and I'm just like, oh, crap, right? This is just how this team is, right? Oh, are we going to mess something up? And then we stop them. We tackle them like on the 10-yard line, and thank God for that. You know, it wouldn't have made a big difference just because we won by so much, but still, it would have felt a little bad. But another person I want to talk about, just from the standpoint of getting better, and someone that it feels good. It feels good if someone goes down and you're not that nervous about the backup, and that's Terrell Smith. Terrell Smith has looked very good as a rookie out of Minnesota. He also has kind of been doing a low-key timeshare with Tyreek Stevenson when out on the field, where on some third downs, Smith comes in, and Smith, to me, has just always looked so consistent, right? He's not dominating by any sense, but he's just sound. He's just doing well. When you don't hear a corner's name, usually they're doing well. The PFF grade backs it up, and also when I watch the tape, you just go, that's a good corner. That's a solid corner. Now, Jalen Johnson obviously has been a lockdown corner, got banged up. I believe it was actually a shoulder, so we do need to look out for that because we know that he's had shoulder injuries in the past. Does he play against Green Bay? I think, even though it's the end of the year, even though he's playing for a contract, I think with the chemistry of this team, right? And right now I sound like a meatball. I think for real, with this chemistry of this team, the way that they think about each other, the way they're playing, I think that he would play if he is banged up, if he is hurt, because I think that he's just having fun out there. The team is vibing. The team is playing well. And that's where, when people ask, is Flus gone? I can't see it. The chemistry is good. Everyone is playing enthusiastic. And also, there's a lot of people inside of Hallis Hall that said that, hey, Ryan Poles saw this as kind of the first year. He knew that they were going to be tanking. So he wasn't going to credit whatever happened with Matt Eberflus that first year. So some people have said that this is kind of year one for Matt Eberflus. And if you go 7-9 or 8-9 or 7-10, that's not bad. And I know that I had them at around 7-8 wins. And look, they're at 7-8 wins. This is kind of what a lot of us Bears fans projected with this team. So is he gone? I can't really see that, especially the way that the locker room is. The people really respect him, and you saw on the sidelines them kind of hyping up Flus. I was getting hyped up as well. It was just a fun game. I can't wait to watch the film back. I can't wait to watch it again. But also, thanks so much for joining me out there live on YouTube. Also, if you're watching this later on, let me know down below. What would you grade this game? A, B, C, D? We're going to be doing more live shows rather than on Thursdays, though. I'm switching it over to Wednesdays. I had some conflicts with Thursday. That's also why we weren't going live. So we're going to go Sundays at 7:30 and Wednesdays 7:30 going forward. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to rate 5 stars. And how could I have forgotten? We're still giving away the Darnell Wright jersey. Make sure you get in before the end of the year. Right down in the description, click on that link, rate the show 5 stars out there on Apple Podcasts, and you will be in the running. Thank you all so much. I hope you all have a great, great New Year's. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.